Hi, this is Bhairavi Shah. I am into counseling. I am a healer. I am a life coach. I am also working towards becoming a relationship coach as well. Though right now I'm not charging for it because I'm working and understanding and learning stuffs. I am a numerologist as well. I have multiple professions because I have multiple skills, which you all know by now. Okay, so back to the topic about forgiveness. We are doing the series of forgiveness, and right now I'm working with certain background of it because it's helpful for our mind to process, to ease out about the techniques and tools that we would use later on forgiveness. Meaning it will become easier for us to be accepting the fact that forgiving, that is what we are doing, is why we are doing all those things, would be eased out already. So we are preparing the soil before removing dirt. Now the one question that I want us to ask ourselves: what will happen if we don't forgive? What will happen if we choose not to forgive? I want you to question that. This was a generic question. More specifically, I'd like to say, what will happen to our bodies? What will happen to our minds? What happens to our energies? What happens to our surroundings or our environment? What happens to our lives right now when we choose not to forgive? What becomes of us when we choose not to forgive? Question that. Question that within yourself. Answer it within yourself. Another question I want to inquire within ourselves, I want us to inquire within us, is that what are the actions do we take? What are the non-actions do we take? Yeah, non-action is also an action when we choose not to forgive. We will come to that later, a little bit more about it later. But the first thing, what actions do we take when we don't forgive? When we choose we don't want to forgive. What forgiveness? Come on. Why do you want forgiveness? How dare they are supposed to be forgiven? When we choose not to be forgiven, what happens? What actions do we take? What we become as a person? What have you seen people who have been non-forgiving? Who have been very non-forgiving, and sometimes they become vindictive? Yeah, have you seen people who have become vindictive and vengeful, and I'm like going to see what I can do about that? Have you seen people that like those? Have you really witnessed those? Yeah. What actions have you seen people taking when they are into non-forgiveness? They feel it's an entitlement not to forgive, and they feel it's an entitlement to be vindictive. It's their entitlement. Whatever it is, what is the action that you have seen people taking when they don't forgive? Now, one thing I want us to be very clear about on forgiveness is that what forgiveness is not. What is not? What can we not call forgiveness? Forgiveness is not an acceptance of what happened is okay. Forgiveness is not what the person did was right or wrong. Forgiveness is not about that person. It may just be, for all you know, it may just be a misunderstanding between you and the other person, between you and the situation, between you and number of people. It may just be a matter of misunderstanding or a perception. For all we know, it's not even about giving them benefit of doubt. It is about what we perceived that action or inaction as, and it hit us. Yeah. It is not even, forgiveness is not a people pleasing tool. No, it isn't a people pleasing tool. We are not here to please people. Now that we have forgiven them, now that we are working on forgiveness, now that we are forgiven, now we can start differently with them. No, it is not that. It is not for that. We can start differently for sure in our mind. Sure. But we cannot expect that thing to work out in the same way which we felt. We will not go deeper into that. But even if you would have understood this much, it's way enough. It's good enough. All right. So now that we know what forgiveness is not, what happens to our mind, bodies, energies, and soul when we don't forgive. Okay, to give an example, when we don't forgive, our bodies tighten. It tightens, it becomes anxious. So our energies are congested. Our body is tightened. When it tightens, I'm not a biology student. I'm not a doctor. It's not a professional study that I've done on physicality, but then we generally know that when we are congested, anxiety prone, panic prone, our body tightens. And when body tightens with the negative emotion, which can be fear, which can be hurt, which can be anger, which can be shame, guilt, anything, when it tightens, it is stress for body. And that we know stress is a root cause of many diseases. Stress is the root cause of weakened immune system. Stress also interferes with our performance. It interferes our quality of living at this moment. Yes, so we know mentally it's affecting and giving us stress, knowingly, unknowingly, whether the person is on our mind or not, the impact is on our system. Energetically, we may be repelling people because of the beliefs that we have created about that situation or that person, which may be unconscious. Body wise, we may be decreasing our immune system, we may be getting fatigued, we may be getting tired. Yeah, we may be becoming more prone to diseases, which right now it is not hitting us, but it can suddenly hit. Like they have a burnout point as well, right? There is a saturation point of everything. So before it occurs, the best way to prevent is, that's the best way to prevent before it occurs. So these are the parts I want you to genuinely, deeply understand and connect to. We meet in the next video. Till then, bye.